You're listening to Living Beyond with Hope. Hey, that's me.
Welcome to the podcast. This podcast is meant to help you realize you're more than a label, and you too can create a life you love despite it. Each week, we bring you tips and inspiring messages to help you take the positive steps in your health that will allow you to live beyond. Now sit back, relax, meal prep, or take a walk as you dig into today's topic with your host, a gal living her life to the fullest with type 1 diabetes, Hope Mangiafico.
Where does our happiness come from, and what do we consider to make us happy? When we're on a journey, and really on a health journey especially, I think that sometimes, and I'm guilty of this, we believe that living beyond our condition and, not being defined by our condition is what will make us happy. And I absolutely positively am an advocate of living beyond, but I'm learning as I live day to day, and I have my good days, I have my not so good days that are out of my control, and I maybe have 1,000,010 things going just happening and taking place, and I notice that I get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, and I kind of start to lose my identity, and my identity becomes, in my happiness, becomes part of external factors. Like if I control my diabetes well today, I am going to be so happy. Or if I am able to help 15 people today, I'm going to be so happy. And this is probably a reality that you can relate to, and even you may know what I'm about to share, but I am learning so very much right now about where happiness comes from and where I allow my happiness to come from. And I am so far from it sometimes. And I want to help you understand how you can be happy day by day. And what's so interesting is when you are doing the things that truly make you happy and you're rooted in the things that make you happy, everything about living beyond actually comes to surface, and it's a lot easier. So, for example, I have had a period of time where my diabetes, or I should say the diabetes diagnosis that I have, has been extremely challenging. And I cannot tell you how many times I've wanted to just give up. And I've cried. I've been frustrated. And people tell me it's going to be okay, and I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope it gets better. And they're like, I don't understand why it's happening. You're so good. You eat so well. You exercise. You do this, that, and another. And I just get so mad and frustrated. And that is not the definition of living beyond. But what I'm realizing is my diagnosis of diabetes, as well as just everything else in life that hasn't gone well or feels like it's out of control and controlling me, it's happening because I'm placing my value and my worth in those things. And I'm learning that when I take the time to stop, which I know how hard it is to stop. Today, I have been wrestling with it all day because it is so hard and so challenging because we think, because it's kind of embedded in us. It's what, I don't know, I guess it's gotten passed down from generation to generation to hustle, hustle, go, go. If you stop, you're losing. If you slow down, you're never going to catch up. And in reality, slowing down allows you to move forward. And it's taken me a long time to slow down and realize the reason why things feel out of control is because I wasn't filling my time with things that truly made me happy. And if I was, sometimes I wasn't even present because I was concerned about other things or trying to think of the next thing that I had to do. And therefore, I wasn't feeling the happiness. I wasn't doing things from a place of true joy. And that, my friends, is so dangerous. So what I'm recognizing is I'm stopping and I am reflecting on who I am and what makes me happy. And I'm actually doing that with the help of a friend who is from Inspiring Personal Action. And he is someone I got to meet at a conference. And he gets this stuff. And I'm so thrilled to be working side by side with him for 12 weeks to focus on my happiness and where does that come from and who am I and how do I feel it again? Because when it comes from a true place of feeling of happiness and joy, I'm unstoppable. I am happy. And that shows internally, which then affects my health. So when my diabetes or my diabetes diagnosis is the most well controlled, it happens when I'm at peace, when I'm rested, when I am happy. As you probably know, stress, due to what it does to our bodies, affects us on so many levels in so many ways. But if we can figure out what we believe and what we're grounded in and remind ourselves every single day, whether that's starting in the morning with a journal and writing down what makes you happy, how do you create those situations and create more of them, make the time for them, that's how you'll be able to embrace that more, live it out more. And you just have to constantly bring it to the forefront of your mind so you actually live it out and do it. I have been, which has been revealed to me, I get things on an intellectual level. As you probably noticed, like I geek out around science and understanding how our bodies respond to food and exercise and all the nitty-gritty that only nerds probably enjoy, which I love. But being an intellectual person, although it's great to know and to be self-educated, it only goes so far. So I've known that stress and anxiety is going to affect health. But that doesn't mean that when I'm in the midst of it, that I just stop and take a break and meditate and close my eyes and think of happy things and I'm good to go. I'm human. And I feel like this message, so many people need to hear it as I've been communicating with other people that are, practice functional medicine, and they have a heart of helping people as well. But inside, they're suffering from adrenal fatigue. And it actually is true suffering because we can control it. And they're not taking the time to do what they enjoy, to do what excites them, to do what makes them absolutely happy. And so I'm here to challenge you to take a second, probably longer than a second, take 30 minutes. Think, write down what makes you happy. And figure out how can you create those events in your life more often? How can you live those out on a daily basis so that you are your best version and living beyond? That's just going to happen when you set the right environment and the right tone up. So just for some guiding journaling ideas, which was provided by my friend Josh at Inspiring Personal Action, think about things to be happy about and what makes you happy. So you want to reflect on the times in life where you've been happy and what caused that. That's important because if you can figure out what caused it, you can relive it and everything else will fall into place. And then you think about how to create those times and think about the exact steps you can do to create that. For me, one of the big things is I really want to have an influence in this world of a positive impact. It doesn't matter if it's one person or 1 million. I mean, as long as it's some kind of impact, my heart is happy. But I tend to forget when I'm so caught up in the stress and the chaos of life and, feeling defined by one thing or another, I forget that I've even helped a soul, a single person. Perhaps even this episode is helping you, and I don't even realize it, and I forget. So another thing that he challenged me to reflect on is the contributions I've made to others, and how and who have I helped in the past. And all of this, just as a disclaimer, it's going to be tough at first, especially if you are like me and you don't give yourself enough credit. You're hard on yourself. You think that, and this is what my problem was, that relaxing or enjoying life and actually taking the time to to do things that makes you happy feels irresponsible, this is going to be hard at first. But if you come to it every single day and just add something under each of these categories, one step at a time, it's going to become pages and pages long. And you're going to notice that you've got a lot to be joyful about, and that your happiness is only going to depend on yourself. You want to be happy with yourself. And that's where so many of us, that's where we lack. I love to encourage people. I love to be people's cheerleaders. And I love to tell them that they can do it. But at the end of the day, no one can make you happy about who you are except for yourself. And this hits home for me because I've had times where I look in the mirror and I'm not happy with who I am. And I'm not happy where I am with my business. I'm comparing myself to others. I'm constantly trying to figure out, why am I failing? Even though failing, typically the most successful people in the world fail a bajillion times and they just fail forward. But we don't allow ourselves to be happy with ourselves. So this can be tough. And the only way to improve is to take the time to reflect on this. So with that being said, the next thing is to say, why is it important for me to be happy with who I am? Like, if I was happy with who I was, what would be possible for my life? And what could I do? At the end of the day, no matter who disappears or what happens with your job or financially what happens or whatever diagnosis you have, which I believe that if you receive a diagnosis, we can work on that and try and crush it with all natural, holistic eating and exercise and good stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if your joy is from within and your happiness is from within, that diagnosis, it's not going to faze you. You might even be empowered by it because you know that you are greater than it. That, my friends, is life-changing. And with that being said, the next thing is what will you be able to accomplish once you are happy with yourself? And most importantly, how will that feel? When you are happy with yourself, there are no limitations. My little mantra used to be live without limits. And that implies that there are limitations, so I stopped saying that. The only limitations that we have in our life are ones that we place on ourselves. And that is why sometimes we feel like we cannot accomplish anything, because we've put a roof over us and we say, who am I? I'm nothing. I'm diabetes. I'm cancer. You live with this label. And as I sit here, I'm guilty of it. And I even inspire people to live beyond labels. But when you think about your life, whether it's a diagnosis or something else, there's labels constantly showing up in your life. And if you don't pay mind to it right away and say, no, I'm happy with who I am, and I feel so great, I feel so confident, I feel empowered, that's how you truly live beyond every single day. And the exercise, the nutrition, it's so important. But if you're not happy with yourself and believe in yourself that you can do all things and that you have the ability to do it, it comes and goes. It doesn't stay. It stays for maybe a couple of seconds. And so I want to share with you that as I'm on this journey and I'm finding true joy and happiness from within so that I feel the best, I know that when I am happy with myself, I am going to be filled with laughter all the time. I love laughing and being around people like yourself. But by myself, I want to laugh with my dog and take breaks during the day and just enjoy it. I'm going to be motivated all the time. I'm going to be joyful because joy is it's so deep within, but it only truly comes when you're happy with yourself. I'm going to be filled with just wanting to give everything away and no attachment to outcomes. If I offer you my services and I help and you say no, that's okay. I'll still be here and I'm still happy. I'm still happy with who I am. I'm going to smile everywhere I go, and it's going to feel so good to bring the joy in the room, to lift others up, to be positive, to be kind, to be loving, to make a huge contribution. And I'm passionate, but to speak with conviction that I know that you are capable of so much more, and to celebrate life every single day. That's my definition of how I will feel, how my life will look when it comes from within. And you guys, I've already come a long ways in the past week, and it is not easy. And I say this from a place of having mock conversations in my head all the time that, people are judging me, and people are going to say negative things about me, and people are literally, I just have conversations in my head all the time. And this is a whole nother kind of episode. We can talk about energy and kind of the energy that we put out into the world, and that's going to create what we receive. I'm telling you, I've been so much more mindful, and I am not perfect, but as I have embraced this, the diabetes diagnosis, the days are better again, like they were a long time ago when I just felt like I had no worries in the world. And my impact on others, I'm attracting all the people that I want to attract and to help and to lift up physically and financially, and everything it's just obvious that that's what I'm supposed to do. So my challenge for you is to do this assignment. And if you would like one-on-one help, just like I'm receiving from Josh, you can check him out at inspiringpersonalaction.com, and that link will be in the show notes at livingbeyondwithhope.com. But do it. It will change everything if you continue to reflect on it every day, and don't just process it on an intellectual level, but feel it, internalize it, turn it into an emotion. Now, I want you to share with me how this goes for you. I would love to receive an email or a post on social media, on my Facebook page. I'm Hope Mangiafico there, and to know what it did for you. It's life-changing, and I'm so thrilled to help you on this journey as well. So until next time, thanks so much for joining me, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It means the world to me to be able to serve you and help you live beyond. If you found today's episode helpful or beneficial or share-worthy, I would love a review in iTunes. A review in iTunes allows me to know what was helpful and allows us together to continue to change lives and help other people live beyond their diagnosis or label. And if you did find this share-worthy or helpful, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. If you're on an Apple device, you can go to the podcast app or the iTunes store and type in Living Beyond with Hope, and there you can subscribe or listen to other episodes. When you subscribe, this allows you to know when there's a new podcast released. If you're on an Android device, no worries, I got you. All you have to do is download the Stitcher app and search for Living Beyond with Hope there and subscribe there. You can also go to www.livingbeyondwithhope.com if you would like to listen to the episode again, if you would like to see the show notes and any links that were mentioned in this episode. Today's episode was also brought to you by my Living Beyond the Label audiobook. If you enjoyed this and you like hanging out with me in your ear, then you would love to get your hands on this audiobook. It helps us together strategize your best and most balanced life. If you want to learn more about it and to get your hands on the audio and the worksheets that go with it, you can go to www.mybalanceplan.com. The link is also in the show notes, and there you'll be able to start strategizing your best life. Have an amazing rest of your day, and remember to keep living beyond.